Banfi Vintners is actually my family business. It was started over 100 years ago by my grandfather. The inspiration for the company was my aunt Teodolinda Banfi, and she was an amazing figure in the Italian history. She was actually head of the household staff for Pope Pius XI, and she was the first woman who was not a nun to be honored to live within the Vatican City. She raised my grandfather when he was a whole little boy for his entire life. And he came back to America and started a wine importing house, and he named it Banfi after the woman he loved like a mother. But now it's almost 100 years later. We're still importers of wine in the United States with a beautiful portfolio of wines from all over the world. But our pride and joy is the winery which my father built in the 1970s in Tuscany called Castello Banfi. So our Castello Banfi property in Montalcino, Tuscany, it's in southern Tuscany. It's magnificent. It has a 12th century castle that crowns the property, and it's really like storybook. It's about 7,100 acres. So as far as your eye can see, it's rolling hills, cypress trees, olive groves, and of course, vineyards. But only 1/3 of the land is planted under vineyards. So it's really like a constellation of single vineyards throughout the property. And it's very experimental, and we've worked with a lot of grape varieties there in Tuscany that aren't typical to the region. So we have a Sangiovese, for example, that goes into our Brunello. But we also plant Pinot Grigio for our San Angelo Pinot Grigio. We plant Cabernet, Merlot, Syrah, all these grape varieties that were really unknown to Tuscany, and today we see have a natural home. So it's really this wonderful, sustainable agricultural center in the heart of Tuscany. I was mentioning about our San Angelo Pinot Grigio. I love this wine because it's the only 100% Tuscan Pinot Grigio here in the United States. So because a lot of Pinot Grigios come from northern Italy where it's much cooler climate, ours is coming from central Italy. So it's that warm Tuscan sun that gives this like tropical fruit and fullness and body to a Pinot Grigio that's really unlike a lot of other Pinot Grigios out there. So that's our San Angelo. Our Rosa Regale from Banfi is one of the most unique wines, and I love this wine because sparkling wines are really in favor right now. And this is an Italian Piedmontese sparkling sweeter red. Rosa Regale, it's made from the Brachetto grape, but it tastes almost like strawberries, raspberries, and why it's really sweet when you first sip it. At the end, it has this vibrant acidity. So there's really kind of few wines that can pair well with chocolate, and a lot of times when people say, oh, you pair a drier sparkling wine with cake or chocolate, but really you want that sweetness to come through. We call it love at first sip, because you'll know it when you taste it. The beauty of New Hampshire is a few things. One, it's the people. I mean, number one, the nicest, most engaging people who just want to learn. And as a wine producer, there's nothing more rewarding. Two, it's really this partnership working with the New Hampshire Liquor Commission. It's year after year of building this rapport and building brands that you get out in front, you get to educate the consumers, you get to educate the staff in the stores. And you do this all with wonderful programming, participation in events, but also just the best pricing. I mean, on top of it, consumers can come here, they learn all about your wines and your stories behind them, but then they go and pick up a bottle at some of the best prices around the world. So it's awesome as a wine producer because you're able to showcase your wines and at the same time, sell a lot of them.